If you love really fun people and social media strategy, you are going to love this episode. I am bringing on an amazing friend of mine, Kristina. She's a new friend. And at the very end of the episode, I will tell you how we connected because I feel like that's always really valuable, especially for those of you that kind of struggle to build community or to find your like minded people. It is possible. And I feel like Kristina is going to be in my network for life now. And I'm just so excited to have met her. We've done a podcast swap, and this episode is going to be such a good one. You guys are going to love it. So, let me tell you a little bit about Kristina before she informally introduces herself. She is the co founder and CEO of The Social Snippet. She loves helping entrepreneurs and small businesses grow their communities online using social media and podcasting. Kristina had been working in social media for almost 10 years as a side hustle and finally realized it was her passion and calling to pair her extensive experience coaching with her love for social strategy. The Social Snippet was born with her co-founder, Maria, and the rest is history. Kristina spends most of her days recording podcast episodes for the Build Your Digital Community podcast, coaching business owners on how to grow their businesses, or hosting events for female entrepreneurs to grow. You probably listened to that and were like, I see why Liz loves her. And I love that she jumped on the podcast and just let me ask her any social media and podcast strategies questions. So let's dive in and meet Kristina. Welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson, and I help high-performing artists and creative leaders grow and scale communities so that marketing is easy. This podcast combines business tips and real-life experiences in being the creative entrepreneur that we all are. So you're in the right place if you want to leave feeling a little bit more confident and normalize these day-to-day struggles that we all experience as business owners. And you can do this while mastering your marketing so that business is light and easy. I'm so glad you're joining me here where we can get a little bit messy, a little bit creative, and it's okay to be super ambitious. Let's get started. All right, welcome, Kristina. I am so freaking excited to have you here today. I feel like we had such an instant connection, and I already told everyone a little bit about you, but let's hear the more fun version of who you are and how you help people.
Oh my gosh, so sweet. I felt the exact same way. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to have you on my podcast next week. And yeah, I am Kristina. Thank you to all those who are listening. I'm so excited to have you in my world now because any friend of Elizabeth is a friend of mine. And I am the CEO of The Social Snippet, which is a social media agency that works with entrepreneurs and small businesses to help them grow online. We also do podcasting, which I love too. And I am just so freaking passionate about helping entrepreneurs show up online, sell online, build their community so that they can live out those dreams that they're having. Because nobody becomes an entrepreneur just, honestly, I think jobs are easier. If I was gonna say it, I think jobs are easier. No one becomes an entrepreneur to have the easy life. So love to help people be able to bring their dynamic dreams to life.
I mean, it is funny, right? How like sexy it seems to be an entrepreneur. And don't get me wrong, I love it and I wouldn't change anything. But yeah, I would never say it's easy. It is, you got to have some really thick skin.
Honestly, I think about this all the time because people will tell me things like, oh, like, it's so cool. You're self-employed. Like, it's so great. Like, you can do whatever you want. And I'm like, yeah, like, there's an element of whatever I want, sure. But like, it's also so difficult. Like, I have a team of almost 20 people. Like, I pay all these people. I'm responsible for their livelihoods. Like, I have a full-time team. Like, there's all these things where I'm like, it's on my mind, right? I have to pay taxes. I got to do all the things. So yeah, it's definitely a lot more work than I think people give it credit for.
Yeah, and we can make our own schedule, but that doesn't mean like I can just take off tomorrow if I feel like it. It's more like I have to plan in advance or be constantly tweaking and evolving my schedule. I mean, it's a lot of work just to do the schedule.
Yes. And there's this saying out there. It's the whole I became an entrepreneur I left my 9 to 5 to work 24/7. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
It does make sense because even when we're not physically working, there's so many days that my brain is working. Like, I can't
Yes.
stop it. Like, I'm like, "I'm not at my computer. I'm not doing anything. Stop working. Stop working."
Yes. And I think that's where like boundaries and things are really important, like as business owners is like trying to figure out what that looks like for all of us. Like I'll be the first to tell you I'm really quite bad at that. And I like truthfully, like even before having the social snippet, I was an all the time worker. I worked in a job that I was on call for. So it was like very normal to me. I've never had a job where it turned off. And it's so funny because my business partner, Maria, who's incredible, she is the type of person that's like, I'm going to Mexico. Do not speak to me. Like, do not utter my name. I will hear it if you utter my name. Don't DM me. Don't tag me in anything. Like, it's very, like, she, like, needs that level of separation. While I think I've really trained myself that I don't need that separation. I need that balance. So, what I really
Mm.
do try to do is, like, really take for granted the fact that, like, if I want to go to the spa on a Friday afternoon, I really, like, bask in the gratitude that, like, I get to do that and I don't need to escape to do that. Like I
Yeah.
need to build that into my schedule. But I'm not always perfect. It is definitely hard.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I love to work, and I find that when I do take time off, it's so good for me because I'm, like, dying to get back to my
Mm,
office. I'm like, I
yes.
cannot wait to get back to work.
Oh, I love that. And that's how you know you're doing the right thing, or like the most
Yeah.
exciting thing is that like you're like excited to be doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, so social media,
Yeah.
agency, I have all the questions, but
Tell me.
I get really curious about, like, workflows and how you guys pull the magic out of your clients. So, if you bring on a new client, how do you guys master their voice and do all of those things in such an efficient way?
Mm. Well, to tell you the truth, so we have 60 clients. So it's been definitely a trial and error. We've worked with over 100 entrepreneurs in different ways, right? Like even on one off projects. And really, like mastering people's voices is really about listening. Like it's about
Mm.
listening to what your folks are saying. I have a friend who owns another agency, and she was telling me that it was a funny story, but she was telling me about how she interviewed this client. I don't work like this, but she interviewed this client. She recorded the interview, and she took direct snippets of what the client said and wrote a caption. And the client responded and said, "That's not really the way that I would sound." And my friend was like, "What do you mean that's not the way that you would sound? Like that is the way you sound. That is like the word verbatim what you said, right?" So it's even like I think people don't really know what they want, and it takes trial and error. And that's why they're outsourcing it. So often people don't even want to sound like themselves. They want to
Mm.
sound like something else, right? So it's really working with the client directly to find a style that works and really trying to find something that makes sense for them. So, for a lot of products, like you might be a 35-year-old woman and you're marketing to 19-year-olds, right? You don't want to write like a 35-year-old woman. You want to write like a 19-year-old, right? So it's not always about capturing the client's voice, but really capturing the voice of the person who you're trying to kind of, embody. And that's what we're really good at is we're really good at being able to look at an audience or an ideal client and figure out exactly what they want and in the way that they want it. Because it's so easy for us when we're entrepreneurs to be so in our own heads about things. And I even find it with our Instagram course. Like we'll teach something and I'll be like, okay, like the CTA over there, and you put the hashtag there and like blah, 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 blah. And people are like, what's a CTA? Like, what's a hashtag? And it's a reminder that I'm not actually speaking my ideal client's language. So what we really do is we do a lot of trial and error, but a lot of conversations, and we try to figure out exactly what they want to sound like and how they want to be portrayed online.
Oh my gosh, I love that, and that's so genius. Like, you're coming at it from a marketing standpoint, not just regurgitating what they want you to do.
Mm-mm.
That's really
Because
that I'm like, big light bulb moment.
well, I was gonna say, Elizabeth, like something that's really interesting is that like if they wanted to sound the way that they were sounding, they would have just done it themselves. Like,
Yeah.
and like I did a discovery call with somebody and he's never posted on social media ever. Ever, not one time. And he runs a pretty successful business. And so I would argue he might not even need social media. Like I'm not even a social media pusher.
Yeah.
And so he was like telling me about it. And he was like, well, I think I'm going to start posting in September and this is what I'm going to do and whatever. And I was like, I'm just going to be honest with you. And this isn't a sales tactic, but if you were going to do it, wouldn't you have done it already? And he was like, "Yes, like you're right. Like I would have done it already." And it's because like I think especially on social, like there's so much paralysis that comes with it. We go on, we start to write a caption. Is the caption too long? Does it sound like something people want? Are people going to read it and enjoy it? Right? Like these things are things that like plague us from being able to post in an authentic way. And so I think really thinking about it from your ideal client is the best way for you to, even if you don't outsource it, to like remove some of that perfection that you feel like you need to have to be able to meet a need.
Oh my gosh, 100%. I mean, when I started getting help with my social media, I was like, this is the best thing. And I actually don't even want to approve these because, again, that's when I get stuck in that paralysis mode.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if they're just doing it for me, I'm like, ooh, I can have all those thoughts and insecurities. But I'm like, well, it's already out there. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, yes, so good. And I think what stops so many people from getting help with their social media is they're like, well, no one can sound like me. And it's like,
Mm,
you made such a freaking genius point that, like, it's not about sounding like you, it's sounding about the person that your audience needs or
mhm.
the voice that your audience needs. It's so smart. How did
Well,
you
it's
just blow my mind and, like, we haven't even been talking for 10 minutes?
8 minutes, I'll take it. It's funny because I think a lot of people will, especially with social, and I'm just gonna speak to like personal brands, right? Where it's like you actually do kind of want it to sound like you, like you want it to be like. I'll give you an example as well because I love to give examples so it articulates it. But my friend Stacy is a fractional CFO. She's excellent at what she does, and when her and I were talking and we started dating on her social, and she wouldn't mind me sharing this, she'd be like, "This is a little too corporate-y." Like it's and I was like, "You're a CFO. Like you're an accountant. Like people want people. Like you want someone to be working with your money that you feel like is going to take care of your money is what." But she's like, "But my approach is that like I want no money shame. I want people to feel so comfortable. I want people to like I want to feel like I'm their best friend that they can open their bank account in front of and they're $50,000 in debt and I'm going to make them feel like by the end of the year they're going to be profitable. Like that is the vibe I want." And so we had to really change the language we were using, right? But because that was an example of us being like, "Oh, we actually thought your ideal client would want this, but they didn't." And
Mm.
but your personality needs to shine there, right? So it's not a perfect science, but I think like at the baseline, always asking ourselves when we're building content, it's not really about us. Like, cause it's like, and people will always be like, "You're selling to a past version of yourself. Like, make it about you." And it's like, sure, like if that brings you joy, but if what will bring you sales is making it about them. And so if we can do that to really try to make it about our ideal client and how it resonates with them, I think that's how we all see the best result.
Yeah, and it's you guys obviously have a superpower, and one thing that I've kind of learned as I've built out a team is, there are people that can do things like social media better than me. Right?
Yes.
So it's like if I think that I can just do it all and it has to be me and I have to have other versions of me, it's like I'm actually doing the business such a disservice because I learned very quickly that I can surround myself with people that do things better tthan I do. And it just
Mhm.
elevates the business, it elevates the client experience, like all the things.
And when you and this is like I don't try to sell this like cuz it sounds like I'm trying to be a salesperson, I'm not, but like when you're actually spending the time not posting on LinkedIn and like spiraling out of control about the way that you're posting something, that's time that you could be making sales. Like that's time
Yeah.
that you could be doing things in your zone, right? Like I know you're super passionate about Facebook groups, right? Like, so when you're showing up in a Facebook group or you're helping someone else show up in a Facebook group or you're bringing in new leads, right? Like, that's what you should probably be spending your time doing. In the same way, for me, I'm not administratively strong. I don't ever pretend to be. So when I'm like going in time zones and I'm like booking all these meetings and I have like not that great attention to detail, like, that's not a good use of my time. Like my best use of time is to sit down with someone and talk to them about the strategy of their social or like, and I make more money doing that so that I can afford to pay someone to do my scheduling. And so I think like thinking about it as an investment, I laugh a little because I was coaching in a mastermind a few weeks ago and this man I was talking to, and this is so funny, but he was like, he was talking to me about how he was thinking about investing in social. And I was like, "Oh, like, how much do you make a client?" He's like, 50 grand. I'm like, okay. And I was like, so say you spent 25 grand on your social, you would get double of it back if like you got one client, wouldn't you? And he was like, that's girl math. And I was like, that's not girl math. That's regular math. That's an investment. So it's like, I just think it's like really thinking about like where you're investing your money in your business and being able to think about like how can it actually maximize and make you more money long term.
Yes, yes, I love that, and I agree 100% with what you said. I'm like, I wanna be in my hour a week marketing system, that's my newsletter and my Facebook group, and that's really the only places I wanna show up, but
Hmm.
I do really value Instagram and short form video, and, like, I know that I wanna have a presence there and, like, have people feel something, but
Mm.
I'm also realizing, like, creatively, I'm kinda limited.
Yeah.
You know? But there are people out there that that's what they live and breathe is strategy around that stuff.
Yeah, and you're gonna talk to somebody who's gonna have like, who's gonna have a better strategy for it than you. I honestly, Elizabeth, there are people who do better social media than I do. Like, I know that. Like, people on my team, sometimes I'll get them to do something and I'm like, "I would have never thought of that," and that's incredible, right? Like, and that's the whole purpose of outsourcing and, like, building that team up and building your power partners up, because, like, that is actually what's gonna help you move farther along in your business than actually, like, sitting there spinning your wheels about social. And social, I think, is I would say probably it's like accounting and then social of things that people sit there and they think they can do themselves. And they
Mm.
just sit there and they're just spinning, spinning, spinning. And like they don't enjoy it and it's hard. And like, yeah, I just think there's a lot that could be done.
Yeah, and there's the time. There is part of me that thinks it's really fun, but, like, I'll sit down and create a reel or create a post, I'm like, "That was 45 minutes." And,
Yeah.
like, knowing that the ROI is not on that one post. The ROI is on us being visible in general.
Hmm.
That's when I really have a hard time with, like, that 45 minutes where I'm like, there are people that could do this way faster because it's, like, where they thrive, right? So how
Yeah.
much money am I leaving on the table when I'm the one doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say doing some math on like all the 45-minute tasks that make you money. Like,
Yes.
being on like even for me, like I should be spending like one of my mentors always says that like you should be doing like a podcast guest a day. Like you should
Yeah.
be trying to be a podcast guest every single day. And I'm lucky today is a 2 day, but like normally that's not I don't do that every single day.
Yeah.
But you know what I do every single day? Like manage my email. And like that's probably something I could like outsource to an amazing VA or admin assistant that would be able to really move the needle for me. So yeah, I really think it's about figuring that out. And of course, there's always a season where like you can't outsource, and like that's also okay too. And recognizing that like, you're in the beginning stages and you're hustling and you're just learning how to do everything. Don't feel like I'm telling you to go like take out a $2,500 retainer with somebody, but just trying to figure out like what the right things to do are is it can be really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, and that's such a good point too of like, it's not like go hire everybody right now. It's so good for us to know. Like we'll never know where our superpowers truly are or what we love or what we don't love or what we're good at, we're not good at if we don't try. And then we
Mhm.
can't build out a systems if we've never done it, right? Like it's so important that every business owner does everything and understands everything at least to some extent, right? Yeah.
Totally. The stuff I feel most powerless in my business, to be honest, is the stuff that I don't have any handle on. So, like
Mhm.
me and my business partner have been talking about this a lot about there's areas of our business that we've done a lot of delegating in because we grew really quickly. And, we don't have a lot of visibility in a few areas. And that
Yeah.
freaks me out.
Yeah.
Because it's like if someone were to leave, I literally wouldn't be able to pick up the pieces of it. Like it would be too hard. And that's not right either. So finding that balance of like knowing enough to be dangerous, knowing enough to be critical too, because you don't want to just like hire out like a social media agency out and they're doing a crappy job, but they're, meeting the deliverables, but it's not really growing your business. But like, you want to be asking some of those questions. So knowing enough to be dangerous and hiring partners that feel good and that help want to help you grow long term. I think that's the big stuff.
Yeah, and coverage. So one of my the clients that I do some consulting for, we have coverage for like every part of that business. So like, if I go out for a week or somebody
Wow.
goes out for a week, it's like there's always coverage for that position. That's really important as you grow and scale and something that a lot of people don't think about. Okay, I want to transition and talk a little bit about
Yeah.
reels because I know reels
Reels.
feel Reels reels feel difficult to delegate or outsource sometimes because of all the B-roll that you need, and then, like, to use trending audio, you can't always use, like, Meta's features, right? Or can you? I don't know. Tell us a little bit about, like, how you guys have evolved with social media changing so fast, and now it's like reels are everything.
Okay, so it's so funny because reels were not a thing when we started, right? So I remember vividly the day reels came out,
Oh
and
my
I was like,
god.
"This is kind of annoying." Like, I think people are going to be asking us for a lot of video, and Maria was like, "Maybe," and then like now we're like, "Oh my god!" Like, people are like, will you make reels? You're gonna make reels?" We're like, "Yes, we'll make reels." And it's interesting because not all platforms actually like love video right now. Like even LinkedIn, LinkedIn has like a different like segment that they like. Like so, it's just interesting how like we always have to kind of bend and kind of break for each different platform. But one of the things I love about Reels, yes, they can be really hard to outsource fully because you do need a level of personality in them. So it's
Yes.
no matter what kind of business you have, if you have a product-based business, I do not care if you sell candles, if you sell underwear, if you are a personal development coach, it does not matter. There has to be an element of human in them. Things perform best when there's people in them, and we see it over and over again. I work with a rug company that I love working with, and we can post their beautiful art rugs every single day. They will not perform even a little bit as well as something that has the owner's face in it. And we see it over and
Mm,
over again. So it can be really challenging, but again, it's asking yourself how you can maximize those features to really grow your business in ways that feel good for you. So when Reels first came out, there was a lot of dancing. Like people would dance on these Reels all the
yes.
time, and you remember the pointing?
Yes, yes,
We would
yes.
Yeah, you're like, "I pointed once myself." Um, um, we would have clients that would be like, "I will not. That
Yeah.
is not what I'm gonna do, and I don't wanna show my face." So that's where we figure out doing things like B-roll of, capturing them in their element, or, perhaps using some stock imagery or videos, right? Like, trying to find ways that, work for them. Not everyone's gonna show up it's like Instagram stories. Not everyone's just gonna show up and be there, right? So we really try to maximize for every single different person, but yeah, things change really quickly, but then also not taking that too seriously. I think people use that as an excuse, not to do anything, you know? It's like being like, I don't like to eat healthy because once a week there's a burger available. And that stresses me out because the burger's there.
That's so
Like
true.
it's the same thing, right? Where it's very it can be very stressful, and yeah, it can be very stressful, but at the same time it's so important, and to just try and see. And then even things like Threads, right? Threads came out. I think Threads was a massive flop, and no one I know is using Threads anymore.
Mm.
And I'm telling you, I have
Yeah,
60
that
clients. Most of them ask me, what's the Thread strategy? I work at Facebook. I have no idea. I was like, we will figure this out together. But at the same time, we didn't have to put too much effort into it, right? So it's really about bending and seeing what can kind of work for
yes. Oh my god, I know Threads is so interesting because it did, explode, and then a
you.
week
Yes.
later, it's like, "Is anyone still on Threads?" But
Nobody.
what I'm noticing that I think Instagram is doing to kinda push Threads is, I'll say, "So and so just posted a thread," and then you can even, scroll through the threads on Instagram, but, some people aren't seeing that, so it might be one of those things that they're rolling out, but it did make
Mm.
me like, "Oh, I need to hop over to Threads because it's gonna push me to the top of everybody's feed."
Yeah, and so this is the thing I will tell you about all social media platforms is that they reward early adopters. So if you see a new feature that you think that there's some way that you can amplify, or some way you can get involved with it, I would say go for it and do it, because it's a great way for you to get seen and for them to enjoy that, right? So that's why trending music works so well. They're like, this sound is trending.
Mm.
I believe in my heart someone's getting paid in the back for these sounds, but I cannot prove it. But it's like, that sounds trending, use it. So they're rewarding people, right? They're rewarding people for using it. So, figuring out, but at the baseline, Elizabeth, something I always tell people, when I teach about social, is that if one of the new features stresses you out and it'll keep you from being online, don't worry about it. I
Yes.
wouldn't spend time worrying about it.
Yeah, especially because, I mean, carousels still tend to perform pretty well if they're done well. I mean, even
Yeah.
some of the super simple ones now where people are just using, their notes app and screenshotting it or doing something to make it look like that, you know? It doesn't have to be fancy, it just has to be meaningful.
Yep. And different audiences like
Yeah.
different things, right? So even for me, I love reels where it's just B-roll and you're seeing into someone's life, and
Yes.
my audience actually responds really well to that. When I go on a trip or I go on a mastermind or something, and I'll just do a bunch of clips together, and people love that. It's not taking years off my life. But then there are people who love a bigger production, and that's also fine.
Yeah, that's so true. I like the B-roll stuff a lot too. I mean, I don't do enough of it myself, but I like watching where it's just something really, really simple. I mean, even right now, the little feet walking, is doing really well for a lot of people. Just my feet walking with some trending audio and something that's meaningful. There you go.
And even podcasters, this is the thing I'm saying too. It's if, and sorry, Elizabeth, this is gonna hit close to home, but it's you have countless hours of you talking, videos of you talking, countless. You could use an AI tool, throw that in there,
Yeah.
and it clips Opus. Opus AI is one that we use, and I'm not obsessed with the colors and stuff they choose, but I think it's getting better every day. But Riverside, even like Riverside will clip up a bunch of clips for you based on the episode, and it's like I don't even do that. Like, I don't even do that, and I own a
Yeah.
podcasting agency, like, and I have a team that could clip this whole thing up, and it's too much for me. But it's like, it's really just about figuring out, like, how to work smarter, not harder, and, like, really figuring out, like, what features you like and how you wanna show up and what your audience responds to, and then continuing to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, taking old podcast episodes and just using it as voiceover on a B-roll. I mean, there you go. It took me a really long time, and I also think reels have evolved, thank goodness, from like the whole like singing and dancing and lip singing that was so, oh my God. So I am way more in favor of this direction now where it really is simple and it does feel faster for me to post a reel sometimes than to go into Canva and make something pretty. It's like it's so much easier to just post a video real quick. So I am pleased with like that aspect, but oh my gosh, it is crazy how it's always changing, right? And that's why I brag about Facebook groups because they were cool 10 years ago and they still work today.
Yeah, and that's amazing, you know what I mean? Like, that's an amazing thing, but that's actually why, and Elizabeth, not to get, like, excuse me, not to get too, like, down this rabbit hole, but because what you're actually talking about when you're talking about Facebook groups, in my opinion, you're not talking about Facebook, you're talking about community. So you've
Yes,
chosen a
yes.
platform that hosts an amazing community. That is why, like, even our like taglines, build your digital community. I could use the exact same principles I used 3 years ago on social, and I know it would work for clients because we don't focus on virality, we focus on community. So we teach them
Yes.
how to grow their community. We engage with people who'd be in their community, who could be buyers. We're not talking about, oh, will a reel convert and will it do this? And yeah, like I've seen that. Like, we run women's events. When I post a B-roll reel of a women's event, 3 sales instantly. I know it. It's like clockwork every single time. But I don't need to do that every time, right? Like, there's different things we could do. So I just think it's really about us focusing on building community online, not building virality, because that's where I think we'll see the best result.
Yes, gosh, and so many people have gone viral to some extent and like they couldn't even handle like the demand that it created, and it's not sustainable. I mean, even as I'm learning about like Amazon, they teach us to look at the trends because if something goes viral that sells on Amazon, it's like it's going to go way up. That doesn't mean that this is like a product that's going to be sustainable over time.
Yep.
So the viral doesn't even always like give the result that we want. Like it's way better to be like slow and steady and able to maintain your growth and really understand your supply and demand versus like, making $1 million overnight and now you can't fulfill anything.
100%, 100%. And
Yeah.
it's amazing to me how people, like, they get so wrapped up in the, like, we had a client who did a TikTok a few weeks ago, got 40,000 views. And that's awesome. Like, I was really happy with that. That was a great result. 8 followers, no sales. That means nothing.
Right.
Like, it
Right.
doesn't change anything for them, right? And so they were so excited, and I was so excited because it was good performing content. But what that was just information. It was information about different types of content we could make, how we can maximize that. What, like, it didn't have a strong call to action. That was a miss, right? Like, so these things that we could continue to kind of bend in, right? So yeah, I think it's all about learning, and like virality doesn't equal money, and I think that's a mistake that
Mhm.
people often make.
Yes, absolutely. Huge misconception. Um, okay, where do we want to go next? What are you guys working on? You said you do some podcast management too. Do you have any big
Yeah.
projects coming up or anything that you want to just share or brag about? I'm all about that.
Oh my god, that's so sweet. Well, I'm just thinking, like, we have been really growing the podcast area part of our business, which has been awesome, which is our like editing and kind of full service, which has been great. And we've seen a number of our clients get top rated out in Apple, which was so cool. Like, it's been so cool to see. So I've been really lately, like, what I've been, excuse me, dedicating a lot of my time to has been really learning about the art of a podcast launch, like how to make a
Mm.
podcast launch and be really successful. So that's been kind of what we've been up to. And then a lot of the other stuff that we've been working on is building a lot of Canadian community, like creating events for other Canadian women entrepreneurs and kind of leaning into that. So it's been amazing and busy, but it's like it's incredible when you get to do stuff that you love.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, let's talk about podcasts for a minute because this is
Yeah,
definitely on my radar of
tell me.
like I want it to be a priority to grow the podcast. Like if I
Mhm.
really think about what do I want to be doing? Right. Like, I know the podcast is like such a big lever that I want to grow and help more people, because everybody that listens connects with me faster. They're more likely to reach out to me. They're more likely to buy. They're more likely to do anything. And it just helps them. Now, would you recommend like a relaunch of actually like
Mm.
stopping it and restarting it? Or can you take a podcast that already exists and just really focus on growing it? Because I've heard both.
Yeah, I've also heard both. It's interesting because I think one of the things about relaunching that's I think a bit short sighted, and excuse me, if anyone ever listens to this and you're like, I disagree, like feel free to DM me. Like I just always like want to chat this out. But a lot of the times with podcasts, like what we're doing is like you're building that consistency with your audience, right? So you're building consistency and trust with them. So every single week you're building consistency and trust. Consistency and trust that you're going to be there every week, that you are an expert of what they're talking, like they're wanting to learn about. And I think that that's something that people miss when they become obsessed with the numbers. Is they're like, okay,
Mm.
like I want to relaunch so I can get a big splash, whatever. But really, you have a consistent audience that's already listening to you. So there's a few things that you
Mhm.
can do, I think, to amplify your podcast to try to get more listens that we've definitely been working on. So if you're already launched and you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know how to make a splash like with my podcast, one of the things that Apple really responds well to is frequency. So in a short amount of time. So what you want to do is try to
Mm.
get a number of downloads or reviews kind of immediately. So even one of my clients, she ended up being like number 11 or something in the business category, like one day. And it was because she had a 100-person event. And at this event, I emceed a piece of it. And I told every single person to take out their phone and download an episode and write a review. And I don't know if 100 people did it. Some people looked at me blankly. But what was amazing about it was that it was really cool, right? Like it's a cool idea to be able to like get a huge number of people kind of all in on your podcast. So really like doing something like that. Like if you have an event, if you're doing like a live podcast recording, I know that's a big thing. It's like trying to get local community around a live podcast. That's like
Mm.
you really want to try to stir up some like numbers. So you can do that with a relaunch. The other thing that is really great and it's a more organic way to grow your podcast is being a guest on other podcasts. So trying to
Mhm.
get on other podcasts with your niche. And even I think a lot of people, they get kind of like nervous about doing this because they're like, well, that person's a competitor. And if they're a competitor, I don't think that, they're going to want me on. Honestly, anybody who shares your audience, that's a great person for a podcast for you to be on. So anybody who, like for me, my audience is entrepreneurs. I love working with small businesses, whether that's through our podcasting or social media or coaching, like whatever. I love that. So anybody who speaks to those people, I'm happy to do anything to be a part of their community, summits, like that kind of thing. So it's the same thing with podcasting. You just want to get in front of as many people as possible. And then there's also a school of thought around like taking a piece of content from your podcast and you want to put it in out in 5 different ways. So a
Mm.
LinkedIn post, an Instagram reel, an Instagram carousel, a story, an email, and really trying to get in front of as many people to remind people that you're a podcaster. So those are a few things. Sorry, I feel like I just rambled over there for a little bit, but I'm more on the don't relaunch page and more about like just honor your community and pour into them as much as you can.
That's such a good point. And I actually had a really great I mean, my podcast I've had for a couple of years, but we take breaks, but I had a
Yeah,
really, really great launch around it. Like, we did everything that we could do at the time, and it's probably, like, one of the most successful launches I've had. It was, like, not even a product that I was selling, but, like, just a
amazing.
launch. And I'm like, I don't know if I really wanna, like, do that again." And then I love what you said about, like, you already have these loyal listeners. Like, why would we wanna start over and they have to, like, subscribe or download? I love that. It's more just about getting the juice, and everything that you're saying, I'm hearing what I call like just being top of mind. Like, the best
Yeah.
marketing that we can do, no matter the strategy, no matter anything, is just top of mind. Like, how can we just continue to show up in people's lives and people's feeds, because they're going to like see something and say, "Oh, I can't wait to listen to that later," or "I can't wait to read that later," but then they're going to forget. So if we can pop
Yep.
back up again, it's like, "Oh yes, I meant to listen to that." Like, that's like what real marketing is all about, I think, versus like everything being like strategic or perfect or planned or curated. It's like, no, we just have to be out there.
Honestly, it's so funny. I ran an event a few months ago, and it was fine. We had a fine turnout, and I remember being like, I felt like I was hustling for sales. Like I was like trying to get all these people in and all this. And then it was so funny. Like this girl came up to me and she was like, like after the event, she was like, "Oh, I was thinking about coming to that event. I just didn't see any information anywhere." And I was like, "What do you mean you didn't see any information anywhere? Like, I couldn't have done this in any other way. Like, do you want to come to my home? Like I don't know." Like, and she was like, "Well, like usually you like do this." And I was like, "What do you mean usually I do this? I don't usually do anything. Like I have no method to this madness, like on promoting things." But it was just so interesting that I was like, everyone's looking for something in their way. So trying to find different ways to
Yes.
speak to different people, like carousels, reels, like people really respond to different types of messaging, right? Which is what we've been talking to. And the other thing about podcasting too, which is really important, like, and why I think it's such a long game and why I don't encourage people to relaunch is because like you're actually trying to build data about your podcast so that you have opportunities for things like sponsorships
Mm.
if you're not sponsored yet or whatever. Like you want to be showing you get a consistent monthly download numbers. Usually to start monetizing, it's about 1,000 a month. And that's awesome. And it takes a bit of time to get there, right? So I just really encourage people to like stay the course, try it out. And if it doesn't work, like there's like a number of mentors I love who talk a lot about podcasting and who really help grow shows, like the people I'm working with. So I think there's a lot out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's on my radar too. I was like, if this is an area that I really want to grow, I'm all about like investing in coaching or strategy or, whatever that looks like, especially when it's something that I know that I really want it to be a focus area.
Yeah.
I love that you shared that metric of like 1,000 downloads a month is kind of like a good like starting point for sponsorships and things like that. We haven't even really explored sponsorships yet, but I do think we're pretty close to that number.
That's
When
amazing.
I post a lot, like if I have a month where I'm doing, 4 to 5 episodes. But we take Christmas and like summer are kind of like my non-negotiable
Right.
like breaks, but you know.
And something for you to think about in the future, like I don't know if this aligns with your working style, and it might not, and that's also fine. Is like, what does it look like for you to batch for those seasons? Like, and that's something that, like, even for me, like, I'm hoping to live in Arizona for the whole month of February, and I'm already told my team January and February I'm not recording. So that
Yeah.
means that I have a heavier load right now, but that's the trade off, right? And so I think thinking about that, like, how do you batch record episodes? How do you make this easy for you? And when you're looking for
Mhm.
sponsors, I know people who have gotten sponsors with less numbers, so I just do want to say that. But when
Mm.
you're looking for sponsors, like you're really pitching people the opportunity to advertise to your audience, which is the number one thing that is your kind of bread and butter. It's your like community. So it's like, especially if you've got some social media following, like you can pair it up with podcasting. You can say, like, I'll offer you, we're doing a
Yeah.
sponsorship right now for an event we're running in January. And I've offered, they get podcast sponsorships, they get some Instagram stories, they get all these things. I don't have a massive audience, but I have a really loyal like community. And so I love them.
Yeah.
And so I protect them like at all costs. And so I'm not putting shitty sponsors in front of them. That's the first time I swore. I asked you if I could swear beforehand and only let one
That's
out.
good.
Woo, look at me go, 35 minutes. But like I'm not going to put shitty people in front of them. I'm not going to put products I don't believe in front of them. So really going to even products you know, you love, you use, and you want to build rapport with, things you're an affiliate for. You can even run ads, and this is a whole other thing, but like you can run your own ads and your own sponsors where you can say like, hey, like
Mm.
join my
Mhm.
community. This is great. Or for me, I have ads for like platforms I love that we have affiliate codes for. And we're not traditional like partners, but I'll say like, hey, I love Later as an affiliate tool or as a scheduling tool. Use snippet 10 as your code and they will save money. I'm not making up fake codes, but like it's all part of like the ecosystem on how you can start to build up a little bit of monetization because podcasting is a long game.
Yes, absolutely. I know I've definitely done those 2 options before, promoting my own stuff, promoting affiliate stuff. I did a whole episode on why we switched from Kajabi to Thrivecart. And
Mm.
then I'll like repurpose that on YouTube because I'm like, that's the long-term juice, right? Like the
Oh
long-term
yeah.
game for sure. Yeah. And
Amazing. That's
Thrivecart
awesome.
Thrivecart is an amazing like affiliate partner because they give you 40 or 50% and it's instant. So it's like you don't have to wait that like
Wow.
30 days. So if I'm like, "Oh, I need a cash injection," I'm like, "Who needs Thrivecart?"
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Well, that's an amazing tool. And then those are probably somebody like Thrive Cards. I've never used Thrivecart in my life, so it wouldn't be a line for me. But that's an amazing person you could reach out to right now, being like, look how many affiliate sales I've given you. And I love talking about you.
Yeah.
And I would love for you to traditionally sponsor my podcast.
Yeah. I love Thrivecart. I mean, they do essentially everything. It's like a Sam cart. They can do what Shopify does as far as like selling products on your website, and they have a whole course section now. And it's lifetime. It's not monthly. So I'm all about like, let me pay once and be done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
I know. It's great, right?
That's awesome.
So those are really, really good tips because I know a lot of people that listen also have podcasts. So if you're listening, you can create your own ads. You can get sponsorships even with a small audience. I'm like,
Yep.
I'm having an in-person event next year. So I'm totally like, ooh, that's a great way to add on if they want to sponsor the event. Such a good idea. And then, yeah, like the numbers, they're no matter. And affiliates. I'm all about affiliate stuff too. That's so good.
And honestly, this could be the last thing I say, but I was going to say the podcasting is the Wild West. So it's like no one knows anything about
Yes.
it. No one knows and I don't take advantage of people. Like if you have like 5 downloads, like I wouldn't, that's not where I'd start. But like, mom's the only one downloading, but like it is the Wild West. And if you package it in any way, like I have a team member and she does Airbnb. She gets all these free Airbnb stays and she has like 1,000 followers and she just makes videos for them, like little UGC. And so
Love
she
it.
goes all these places. And Maria and I were like, what the heck? Like, this is nuts. Like, how does she do this? And then we reached out to a local hotel and we were like, hello, local hotel. Like, would you be interested in doing this with us? And they not only were interested in it, we did it once. They want us to come back and do it again. Like, and it was so incredible. But I was nervous to ask because I didn't feel like I had the audience size. And so it's like just asking.
Yeah.
That's the only way. And then you're also building that social proof that people are going to want it. So it's great.
Yeah. Oh, that's such great advice. I love it. Just making the ask. Like, what's the worst that could happen? It's the same thing as not asking.
And they say no, they say no.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Okay. Anything, tell everyone where they can find you. You're so fun. You're like this. And I was going to wait and tell this story in the intro, but I'm going to tell it now. Like I watched your stories because somebody recommended you because I was looking for some social media advice or help or whatever. And you talked about community and how you like to introduce people. And I'm like, okay, she's my person. We're friends. So
Oh,
tell
I
everyone
do.
how they can find you.
That is so sweet. Yeah, I'm so excited for us to be connected. And yeah, I'm so excited to have you on my podcast too. So everybody listening, you'll find that soon. But yeah, you can find me on social. I'm best on Instagram at Kristina.Bartold, Kristina with a K. How fun. My Polish ancestry. And then or at the social snippet. So you can find me there. Or you can tune into my podcast, which is called Build Your Digital Community. It's all about community building online and how you can grow your biz. I get to talk to amazing business owners like Elizabeth, but I also drop some solo episodes where I get to talk about social media and then how to grow social and kind of my experience there. So if you found this fun, that's fun too.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I'll link all of that good stuff in the show notes. I can't wait to talk all about community on your podcast as well. Oh my gosh, so fun.
Can't
Cool.
wait.
Well, thank you so much. And we'll put everything in the show notes and we'll get this pushed out. You are the best. Thank you so much for your time and energy today, Kristina.
My pleasure. And thank you so much for having me. I know how important a community is. So honored you shared yours with me.
This is episode 133, so you can find all the links in the show notes at elizabethhenson.co/E133. And I hope you guys enjoyed hearing from Kristina. And I wanted to drop a note and let you guys know that the community that I was introduced to, Kristina, is the Like-Minded Community. It is a free online community that is off of Facebook. So I will put that link in the show notes as well, because I will say, while I only visit there once or twice a week, the connections that I have made in that community have been incredible. You guys have met Imbal in a past episode. She is the tech founder of the Like-Minded Collective. So I'll put that link in the show notes so you guys can check out that free community so that you can find all of Kristina's links. And if you're interested in Thrivecart, I will put that in the show notes as well. We had so many little golden nuggets today. So thank you guys, as always, for pushing play. I am so incredibly grateful that you're here. If you loved this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes or your favorite platform, and share this episode with a friend so that we can help more people. You guys are incredible. See you soon.